Today is fine day in California.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Friday Night Frenzy, where Wonder Bad is never canon,
Thank
and the
you.
topics they're more like a set of guidelines. Chris, he's launching his book on Bancroft today, and we all wish him the best. So he's basically not here this week. So I brought in the worst next thing. I brought in the man who always makes my life miserable. We have my good friend Jared from Comics League.
How you doing?
Yeah, so yeah, it's me and Jared in the house tonight, kind of doing our comics watchy kind of thing. But I will say we got Keely in the chat already. He says, "Hey everybody, how you doing?" So Jared, how you been, brother?
Been pretty good. How about yourself?
Oh, it's been pretty good. I'm actually feeling kind of good, feeling a bit screechy. So let's say we get in the headlines.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
So, as always, welcome to Headline Hysteria. We're talking about all the things that are important, just not important enough for a full topic. So, first off, wanted to give a quick update on Screecher. We are still going full ahead with issue 4. That the art's coming along. Forrester's doing a great job. Got a cover by Irene down the pipe, and I have also started working on Volume 2. Like I'm also working on issue 5, doing on that kind of stuff. It's kind of fun. Like I haven't really worked on the Screecher script since I did the first full batch in 2002. So this is wild. Keely says, "Hail Bancroft, hail Comicsgate," all that good stuff. But yeah, but Jared, I think it's time we light a candle for the Wheel of Time no
All right,
longer
I'll
turns.
bend over and fart if you light the candle.
God dang it. To Greg Berlanti, don't even think about it. Oh God, Greg Berlanti doing Screecher. So yeah, let me just pull up the headline for a little visual aid here. So yeah, Wheel of Time has been canceled after 3 seasons.
Oh,
Woohoo!
no. I hope you don't think this means I'm not going to make the joke.
Get out of the way.
No. I can't do it when you expect it. I'm just saying, even though the show's canceled, I'm still gonna do it.
All right. I will say the offer for Patreon still stands. If you can get me to 5 patrons, I will react to the entire first season, much to Jared's delight. But yeah. So I'm surprised it took this long, honestly. They we did the first episode as a Patreon special, which is still on there if you want to go view it. Jared, what was your reaction as a novice to this series?
That was the most fun. My favorite part is where you said, "Okay, I'll pause it whenever there's like an error." We couldn't make it a full minute.
It took them less than 30 seconds to break the lore.
And then my favorite part is when they screwed up your. I figured when you told me a particular character was your favorite, I was like, oh, because again, I saw this episode before Nick, so I was like, oh no. So he kept so he was watching it. Then when his favorite character killed his wife, Nick goes, "What the f?" And that was like the best reaction ever.
So I had tried to watch it before. Like I was like, okay, just give it a try. Like I said, my initial watch through before this was 30 seconds in. I was pretty much done, but I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a chance. But my favorite character is Perrin. And when he walked into his house and he had another wife, that's when I stopped it because I knew she was a dead girl walking. Because those who don't know, in the books, Perrin has this amazing wife, Cutfail, who doesn't really show up till like the 3rd or the 4th book. But she's amazing. So there's like this rando, and I knew they were not going to not have Fail. I was like, oh god, it's so stupid. Like change things just to change things. Tom Wellington, that is it.
Tom Welling was in that show?
Somebody save me.
That makes sense.
Speaking of Supermans. All right. Enough of this. I can't
By the
stand
way,
this.
real quick, I have a surprise headline. Did you hear that Frank Castle's finally returned to Marvel Comics as the Punisher?
Well, wait.
Here's the thing.
Of course!
Here's the thing. I saw this coming because it's like when he shows up in Daredevil Born Again, I'm like, yeah, Marvel Comics is going to synergize with this in 3, 2, 1. Oh, okay. There you go.
But is he going to be wearing the skull?
Yeah. According to the cover, he is. He's going to be amnesiac at first, but he's going to be wearing the skull.
Oh, gosh.
I'll check it out.
So, speaking of Superman, we have this. They did release their latest trailer, and we're not gonna like watch it all the way. There's just one little quick section I want to like go through. We're not gonna this part.
You'd let me interview you as Superman.
Sure.
Ready?
Let's do it, Cronkite.
I really do appreciate Corn Sweat has like that squeaky Clark Kent voice, and as soon as she says like he does that like very strong voice, I like that. I really like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's something he would do.
Kind of like the best Superman ever.
Well, oh, you mean the second best Superman?
Had Buffy the Vampire Slayer never moved you? I am not aware of that lore. I'm not saying you're wrong. I've just never heard of it.
So you're saying it was either Joss Whedon or Smallville? Oh.
All right, and then Kirill says, "Last time I saw Frank Castle, yeah, we don't talk about
I get the
that.
feeling they're about to get to like to have Frank start to clean house.
Yeah. But I will say, I did kind of like this movie. We're not like I said, we're not going to show the full thing. We're just gonna thumbing through it, showing like frames because apparently, oh god, that frame is so cursed.
Yeah, that's the way I look whenever anyone says Lois Lane. But anyway, I'm gonna get this out of the way. I still hate the suit, but I'm just gonna say that once because just to get out of the way. But overall, if this is the tone that the movie is going to take, I think it's gonna be a good movie.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Oh god. Okay, wait. I do want to show this moment.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
All right.
That was kind of cool. And I still don't like.
I don't like the suit. It looks Marvel-fied, like unnecessary.
Yeah,
line.
it does. And honestly, doesn't that kind of look like Floating Head a little bit?
It does. It really kind of does. I will admit.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: the new 52 suit, which they took inspiration for, it didn't have that texture on the blue of the suit. It had the lines, but it didn't have like basketball texture on it.
I don't mind the texture. My problem is the shoulder lines are so unnecessary. Like you can give him the shoulder pads, but like those shoulder lines just don't work for me.
But also, why does Superman need pads of any kind?
I don't need hockey pads.
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
All right.
But it looks like an enjoyable Superman movie.
Yeah. I swear, I thought like the engineer lady. I thought she was Mercy Graves.
Yeah, I get the feeling she's kind of assuming the role of Mercy Graves in this.
Which is weird because Mercy is a cyborg in some instances. So like they could have had her be Mercy Graves. I don't know why.
Me neither, but it's interesting.
See, the thing that some criticism is like, oh, Superman grew up poor. It's like, yeah, they're farmers. Farmers are very
But
like
that's
they're
not-
they're
but it-
they're
but-
asset rich. Well, like they're asset rich, but they're land, but they're like felt. You know what I'm saying?
No, but here's the thing. It's like that's just based off of like the way James Gunn grew up. It doesn't necessarily mean he's poor.
Yeah. And they gave him a normal house. Like, okay. The thing is, there was always kind of a narrative dissonance where like Clark had this really nice farmhouse, and they're always struggling to pay the bills. It feels more like, yeah, this is a house of people who are struggling to pay the bills.
Mm-hmm.
I got kind of a Superman question. Which version of Superboy? 90s version or Young Justice?
Young Justice.
Cash poor. Thank you, Coral. Thank you.
If you're talking about Young Justice as in the animated series, yeah, Young Justice.
All right, we got Jason Ingram here flexing as usual. And if you do want to flex, you can become a channel member.
You too can become a channel member.
Not a lot of luxuries. And then Tevia's here. Oh, hey, friend. But yeah, like I don't mind this version of Jonathan Kent.
No, I don't at all. It's a good version, but it's like I get to a certain degree what people are talking about, but it's like I will say some people are being a little overly critical of this.
I think so too. And yes, Mr. Terrific is chef's kiss.
That is his comics look. So they did a great job with
He
that.
looks spot on. Oh God, he looks good.
And then we see Green Lantern. By the way, fun fact: do you know who's responsible for him losing the bowl cut? Ethan Van Sciver.
Oh,
Yeah, and I'm like, it's a dramatic improvement.
so you're saying Ethan is gonna get another paycheck to pay for a reasonably priced car for this movie?
No, because they're using the bowl cut.
Oh, okay.
And apparently, so here's the thing. Nathan Fillion was asked about it. He said, oh yeah, they tried a lot of different hairstyles, but this one's canon. And I go, no, it's not.
Maybe canon like 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. That's my one concern with this movie is that they seem to really be like going hard in on canon from 10 years ago and representing it like it's new canon.
Yeah, it's why like Marvel have been trying to push the all new, all different Marvel stuff from 10 years ago.
That didn't work out for regular Marvel.
No,
Somehow become the focal point of the entire world's conversation. I will.
this clip is a bit much for me. I will say.
The Superman, him praying to Superman, yeah.
I think Nicholas Hoult. I'm kind of digging him as Lex Luthor.
I've always felt he could be really intimidating as Lex. I think he will probably be this. I mean, this trailer also made me kind of warm up to Corn Sweat as Superman, but I'm like, I still have to see more on that. But I have a high degree of certainty that that Holt will play a good Lex.
If they use Jessica Cruz in a DC movie, he would get rolled to check. But Keeley, Ethan had nothing to do with the character. Wikipedia says so.
I love all the people that were pissed off that Ethan got a check for the Snyder cut.
And it was enough to buy a reasonably priced car.
That's why people come to DC, because the funny thing is, like, creators have actually weighed in on this. DC pays you good royalties. Marvel doesn't pay. Like, you know, they're not paying the creator of Ironheart.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Oh, and it's like, Thanos is rumored to be in Doomsday. It's like, oh, so Jim Starlin cannot get another check.
And what you're telling me is Marvel's desperate. Big surprise!
Yeah, Marvel has a history of like screwing over the artists. Like for Hawkeye, they screwed over Aha when they're literally using his art style, especially in the intro. Like he just like at least give him a special thanks.
Yeah, but on this, it's like, so again, I still have some concerns, but I think that based upon this trailer, I think it should be an enjoy. Let me put it this way: if this movie fails, like let's say it fails at the box office, I don't think it'll be because of the quality of the movie, unless they fix a lot of that CGI.
Because Marvel is stupid. Like,
That's why.
Like that's a big reason why they didn't use the EU. They just mined it for parts. Because if they had actually adapted the EU stories, they would have to owe those authors royalties.
Yeah, exactly. Or it's like, there was this big like social media storm that like rose up because of Marvel, and so there's this indie artist named Zoe Thorogood, and she had done like a sketch for Marvel without telling her, so they didn't have to pay her. They used it as a cover. And she didn't get any cover royalties or anything like that. And she got a lot of heat because everyone was like, this cover sucks, but it was a sketch.
So it was like all the downsides and then the benefits.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Yeah, that was a scumbag thing to do.
Well,
You know,
what do you expect?
yeah. And then Coral says the mighty Marvel method: pay a flat fee and keep the artist's creation in perpetuity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Then Tevye says, I'm curious with the box office, Superman, especially with Jurassic Park World coming out before Superman. I don't think it'll be as big of a threat because Jurassic Park World, whatever you want to call it, they have a slightly different audience. You know.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the concern from my end is like you will have people that are like that will only choose to see like one movie because of like the economy and stuff. So I'm like, is that enough to hurt Superman? Like you need to make sure that this movie interests people, which it does, but I'm just like, is that enough to like push over the edge? Because not only that, you also have Fantastic Four. So when you have those two, and particularly if Jurassic World makes like $1 billion again, I'm like, that's something. Plus, remember, here's the thing. We're all talking about the opening weekend for Superman. Let's not forget about that dreaded second weekend drop-off because Fantastic Four is coming out the weekend after.
Yeah, that's gonna take a lot of the air out of Superman. Like it will have a hit. And even if Superman is like a big success, the fact that Fantastic Four comes out, even if Fantastic Four is absolutely terrible, the fact that a Marvel movie is coming out the next week. And the other thing about the Jurassic Park movies is people don't realize they're like normies love Jurassic Park. Like we don't forget Jurassic World was the highest, I think, opening whatever until Force Awakens came out.
For the longest time, it was one of the highest grossing movies of all time.
And it still is one of, anyway.
Yeah, it still is. But it's like, that's my concern. Now, could we also get like a Barbenheimer thing with Superman Fantastic Four? You could, but here's the thing. The Marvel and DC audiences are kind of two separate things.
Also, the thing about like Barbenheimer is that was kind of a thing that was like where it was embraced by both communities and like both sides were like talking about it, you know.
And it's like they're two vastly different movies, so it's like for the meme. So I'm like it could happen, but again, that second weekend drop off, because remember that's the reason why people point to BVS being a failure, even though it's not, because of that second weekend drop off. So I'm like, let me put it this way: if this movie has like a great opening, but then a horrendous second weekend drop off, then it's in trouble.
See, the really thing is, this movie needs to make at least $900 million in order to actually be successful. Can it do that? Yeah, I think it's possible. Because you got to realize, the Batman made $700 million. BVS, before inflation, made $800 million. Okay?
And
after
that was
inflation, it's over $1
the
billion.
like theatrical version. But and here's the other thing. It's like, actually, I lost my train of thought. I had an old man moment now. All right.
Hey, you'll be getting more of them as time goes by.
And you would know that from your vast experience.
You're dang right.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, it could very well get like a boost, but it's like that second weekend drop off is where I'm like, I'm a little concerned. But and again, it's more of a let's wait and see and see what happens when the movie actually comes out, because the movie comes out and it like, let's say it makes like a ridiculous amount of money its opening weekend. It has a little buffer space, so I'm like, okay, if it makes like a lot, so like the drop off won't necessarily affect it that much, then I'll be like, okay, it's fine, it's fine.
Yeah. Also, I just want to say I actually really do like this moment.
I cleaned your boots. I'll go get them for you.
Oh, and by the way, Tevia said the M word, so it's Morbin time.
Oh. Did you see that short that I tagged you in?
Yeah, I did. It's really good. I love that.
And we got Orthodox Monks, who's also a channel child doing his flexing. Like I gotta say, Corn Sweat does have that Superman look to him. I'll give him some credit.
He looks great. I don't think that, like this way, if this movie has problems, chances are not going to be him.
Yeah, I was a little wary about Corn Sweat at first, but like the more I see of him,
And again,
also like
I like how by the way, the dude on the TV screen when he does that, that's Reeves' son.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. That was such a good way of doing it because he's a broadcaster. He works for ABC or something.
Yeah.
So like having him, yeah.
But like the other thing that Gunn is doing with this that's smart is he's embracing the comic book like wackiness of like the movie. Now again, that could benefit him, but it could also screw him with the general audience.
Yeah. Okay, and also we do need to kind of talk about this moment right here. This has been some controversy. The one with all right, let me just kind of get the right angle
With the selfie. Keep going. Just Frank.
There we go.
Okay, this is when people are being obviously haven't read Green Lantern comic, because the Ring can they've had constructs appear out of thin air and not connect to the ring. That happens all the. When you see John Stewart holding a rifle, it's not connected to the ring.
Okay. All right.
So that's fine. I was like,
yeah,
right,
because
that's
like,
fine.
yeah, kind of people were talking about that a lot.
The other part that I saw people like talk about was Tess Mocker taking a selfie from a Superman fight. That's just to like show that like this is a world that's used to having superheroes.
Also, they're doing the Super Wonder shot.
No, they're not. They're not in the comics. They would have to be at the Lincoln Memorial for that to happen.
Screw the general audience. We need some fantastic moments in our
No, but
movies.
no, but Cameron, it's like what I'm saying is that some stuff won't translate well or will turn off general audience, and you need the general. Because here's the thing, I say this all the time on my show. There's not enough comic book fans for these movies to make the money that the studios want. Yes, it's important to like have these moments in there, but you want to like, you don't want to go too far in there. Yes, I want that. You can't have Batman in this universe and not do that.
I will say this is a beautiful shot.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, fine, I'll grudgingly acknowledge it.
Continuing on.
But yeah,
I mean, it looks fun. It looks like a solid movie. Again, still the only part about the suit I like the S being on the back of the cape. I like that.
Yeah.
The Green Lantern and Hawkgirl suits I don't like. Obviously, Terrific suit's fine because that's literally his suit.
Yeah, Nicholas Hoult is. Oh god, this guy is just shining as Lex Luthor. I gotta say. Okay.
Pause it. You don't want to go too long. You know what? Why don't you turn off the sound?
Okay, there we go. Yeah, that'll probably help. But actually, perfect shot because like I love that because it's got kind of like that Reeves energy, but it's updated.
And I love where he's just not phased by like everything going around him. He's like he's just walking.
Yeah.
Although
like-
there's one story decision in here that leaked out that if it's true, I am going to be pissed.
all right, what is it?
Do you want me to tell you?
All right, just gonna. All right, let me. Wait, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this properly. All right. So while this fist is up, spoilers are active. So, and when it goes down, the spoilers are not active. So if you don't want to be spoiled, mute it while the fist is up. Okay, Jared, go ahead.
It is revealed in this movie that Jor-El is a supervillain and sent Clark there to prepare the Earth to be conquered.
Oh, god dang it.
They're doing the evil Kryptonians. Again, that could be a... that's being backed up by multiple leakers, so I'm like, I really hope it's not true. I really hope they
Yeah.
edit that out, because stop making... Particularly when Bradley Cooper is playing Jor-El, don't waste that.
Yeah. All right. The fist is going down.
Yeah.
Spoilers are no longer active.
Superman is Clark Kent.
Wait. Next, you're gonna tell me Bruce Wayne is Batman.
No, that's ridiculous.
I know. All right, so let's let Clark is a prince. And Cameron Bailey's like, what? So let's get into this the main topic. Basically, this was spurred on by the trailer coming out, and you basically got reignited the fandom wars. You got the Snyder fans going against the anti-Snyder fans. You know, and then you got like everyone just like bickering together. And when I heard that like Chris wasn't available, and I said, okay, this is a perfect opportunity to have the discussion, because I know Jared is always up for a good Superman talk.
I mean, it's not like I don't host a Superman show every Saturday on my channel.
I hear it's super wonderful.
Yes, it is. It has quite the legacy of almost
You
100
beat me
episodes.
to it. You beat me to it.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. But it's like watching through. It's like the problem is, and it's not really a problem. I understand that like people like have preferences towards like whatever their Superman is, and that's totally valid. I mean, I'm allowed to like Henry Cavill's Superman, and Nick is allowed to be a dweeb and like Chris Reeves. I like Chris Reeves.
He's the
But
best Superman.
My problem
He's the
is
best.
my problem is when you have fans saying, if you want the dark and gritty Superman, Henry Cavill was not Superman. Superman has his underwear right on the outside of his pants. You have like all these like gatekeepers attacking it just because of the trailer. I also see a good portion of the anti-Snyder crowd only talking about Snyder's movies, comparing it to this, and not talking about how great this trailer looks.
Oh, they were having a layup when it was announced that Rebel Moon was canceled. Oh my god.
It's
that
not
was bad.
canceled, by the way, though. It's just put on hold because he has a lot of other projects he's doing right now.
Ugh. But honestly, if you want a dark and gritty Superman, I'd say check out Superman and Lois, because I feel like it's dark and gritty, but in the best way possible.
That's what Zach was clearly... That's essentially what Man of Steel 2 was supposed to be.
Yeah. And I think Tyler Hoechlin is a great Superman.
He is a god tier Superman.
In my opinion, there has never been a bad Superman.
Yeah, I would say that. I would say that. There have been bad Superman movies or media, but each one of them has embodied a certain element of... And actually, what's kind of interesting, each one embodies the way Superman was at that period in the comics. Like, Reeves is the Silver Agey, more like ridiculously
Silver
convincing,
Age,
powerful
definitely.
guys. I would say that, like, take...
Dean Cain is very much like the mid
John
to late
Byrne.
90s.
Yeah,
Superman.
exactly. And then Henry Cavill is the new 52, like more gruff Superman. So it's like each one works and each one's valid and each one is reflective of the Superman that was like active at the time. And so when people say he's not Superman, I'm like, yeah, he is.
Yeah. The only the thing is, Brandon Routh was a deliberate throwback to the Reeves era, but I've said this before. Superman Returns is a perfect Earth 2 movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's still good. It's not a bad movie at all.
Yeah, it's just what I love about it, it has like that mixture of like modern and retro that like just screams Earth 2 to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. But it's like but again, to your point, Ralph was a great Superman. But it doesn't matter if like and the animated Superman was great as well. But it's like the tribalism is why I have severe issues with the Superman fandom, because I encounter this a lot. It's like as a Lois hater, it's like if you don't adhere to like a checklist, pretty much, you are not considered a Superman fan. And I'm like, Nick, isn't that the behavior of a cult? It's kind of funny, and Britt said this on my show, how Superman and Wonder Woman, the characters that are the most altruistic characters in the DC universe, have the most toxic fandom.
And you, as a card-carrying Lois hater, even you admit that you do like some depictions of Lois.
There are times when she's written well. It's just the problem is that they're rarer than they should be. So I'm like, this is all I have. You mean Superman who was a stalker? See, here's the thing. That movie was screwed.
We love Dean Cain. Dean Cain was awesome as Superman.
Oh yeah, he was good too. Again, it was based upon the only thing I didn't like about that show, and it was not about his Superman. It was a line where he says, Clark Kent is who I am. Superman is what I can do. But that was the Superman philosophy at the time in the comics too. I just hate that phrase, period. But regardless, each Superman is appropriate for like the story that they are trying to tell, and that makes them all valid. Even
like the Superboy from the Superboy TV show in the late '80s. Like, Jared, have you ever dived into that?
No, I've watched Smallville though. Technically, that's a Superboy show. And by Tom Welling, I thought he was a pretty good like Clark. I didn't see enough of him as Superman. I just love where they go, he's never gonna wear the suit, and then it's like, what does he do at the end of the episode? He actually puts on the Brandon Routh suit. That's the suit he's wearing.
Oh, really?
That's the suit they made him wear in that clip as he takes off at the very end of the show.
Oh, God, yes.
Move it! Because trust me, WB is really bad about that.
So, yeah, I just wanted you, like, that's Lana, by the way.
Ah, that's not bad.
I just wanted you to hear, like, the really cheesy music real quick.
Yeah, they mentioned that in a few of the Superman documentaries, but it's very cool. I mean, again, it's appropriate for the time. Each thing has their little charm and stuff. It was kind of funny. So I recently rewatched all the Reeves movies, all these Superman movies with my dad. And so once we got past Superman 2, he turns to me and he goes, "These are getting worse," because we got Superman 3, Superman 4. He was like, "This sucks." And then he enjoyed Returns, and he loves Man of Steel.
You should do like a watch through of like Superboy, and then like I know we've watched Smallville, and then also Lois and Clark. You should do a watch through of it.
Yeah, but it's like the issue is, it's, by the way, so I watched the first episode of Lois and Clark with my mom, and then that made my mom hate Lois. She goes, "Lois is a B in that show."
She does get better, I will say.
Yeah, but it's like she berates him constantly, and I'm like, "Oh, shut up." But anyway, it's like, in my mind, there is no better Superman. Let me clarify on that. There is the Superman people prefer, because everyone has their own preference. Because when you say better or best Superman, it invalidates the others.
What the heck did you send me?
Oh yeah, so this is so someone put out there talk about how like you're not a real Superman fan if you like Henry Cavill, and they went on this big unhinged rant about it, and I got into it in the comments with a few antis. Someone said, "Okay, so Nick, obviously you've seen BVS, right?"
Yeah.
Good. And this, even though at one point you watched the wrong edition of BVS for Snyder.
I had watched the right edition before, numbnuts.
Okay, but anyway, so remember the scene when Superman saves Lois in that African, like, compound?
Keep talking, I'll be right back.
So someone had said on Twitter that Superman killed that warlord, and Superman legit says, I didn't kill those men. So I'm like, just watch the movie. But that's it. But it's like, it's my point. It's like these people. Here's the thing. They assume that Superman. They always use the same images of Superman smiling and like doing that, as if that's the only images that Superman has ever had.
Okay, you can shut the F up now.
Okay, good. You actually have that edition. But
It's
wasn't
the ultimate edition. It's the ultimate edition. You can shut the F up now.
Wait, Nick. Wasn't the issue the fact that in the Ultimate Edition box they had the regular edition of BVS? So that's not helping your case, bro.
I got it. I got that version, I think, from like a local library. Also, all right. You can kindly shut the F up.
But you know what's kind of funny
It
about
says
that
Ultimate
DVD
Edition
box?
on it.
Yeah, you know what's kind of funny about that box, Nick? Wonder Woman is like in the center, but she's barely in the movie. And I'm like, don't get me wrong, I could never get tired of looking at Gal Gadot, so I'm not complaining about that. But it's like the going into that, it's like, yeah, if he doesn't adhere to like your idealized version of Superman, all of a sudden he's not Superman. And I go, post-crisis Superman went pretty dark. So I'm like, I don't know what post-crisis Superman killed Zod like 3 times. So I don't know what you guys are talking about. He killed Cyborg Superman when he returned from the dead.
It was Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. But it's like,
Reeves killed Zod in Superman 2
with a smile on his face, and then it gets worse. Nick, do you know what he did? So when he lost his power, somehow he and Lois are able to walk across the Arctic to like a small town and stop at a diner. He gets beaten up by someone and goes, blood? And then he goes back and gets his powers back. At the end of the movie, the last shot of the movie, he goes back and beats up that guy. And I go, and people were complaining about Superman destroying a logger's truck because he went back and beat him up.
Like, I'm sorry, but like destroying a guy's truck seems like a lot better way of dealing with it than actually harming him.
Well, plus also, you just announced to the world that you're Superman because no human is going to throw him like that across a bar. But anyway, that's my issue. That's really my issue. There's a double standard where people will excuse BS. Like there are people that like said in the Donner cut, it's revealed he didn't kill. Actually, it's only in the version that played on TV where it's revealed that Superman didn't kill. So in the movie, or in like the tie-in comic book series, which barely ever tie into the plots of movies. So it's like, I got news for you. Superman killed with a smile on his face. At least Cavill showed like remorse when he did it.
And the worst part is it was unnecessary because Zod was depowered at that moment.
That's the part where I'm like, yeah, you couldn't depower Zod. You didn't know what kryptonite is. I'm sorry. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I enjoy those movies, but I will admit they have flaws.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fine. It's like it's not, and that's not really that much. That's not really my issue. Is that because you're consistent with your criticism? You admit when it's worse with Reeves because he smiled as he did it and just took glee in it.
It just sucks that they only made 2 Superman movies with Christopher Reeve. There's only 2
I
of them.
know. You would have and a pretty dope documentary, but other than that, yeah.
I mean, I am glad that they made Returns. Like that was cool. Mm-hmm. But I wish they would have made like a 3rd and a 4th movie or something. I don't know.
Yeah. You think that because in the 4th movie, maybe he could have fought a villain made of nuclear energy thrown into the sun in his hair. You could have called him Nuclear Man.
That sounds like
voiced by Gene Hackman, by the way.
That sounds like a real quest for peace, my friend.
Yeah, I know.
God, I couldn't finish the sentence.
Or maybe in the 3rd movie, you could have made it a Richard Pryor movie.
Oh God.
Yeah, I know. I'm watching those movies and I'm like, this sucks.
It's really bad when you realize Superman 3 is a Richard Pryor vehicle.
Yeah, it kind of is. But
I will stand with this Richard Pryor.
Not too bad. But it's like, yeah, but it's like those first 2 Superman movies are great. Like they took it seriously. There was a little bit of camp, and I still don't believe that, like, particularly that back then, a guy with the powers of a god shows up and everyone's like automatically trusts him, like all good, Superman. But I look past that because that's the way it kind of was in the comics. But I'm like, overall, story was pretty good. I enjoyed those.
Like, I think Man of Steel handled it better. Like, they weren't like, okay, this guy's evil, but like, we're just trying to be cautious.
They were
We don't know.
suspicious. And then it's like the moment where I think he really becomes Superman is not even when he puts the suit on. When the dude says, "This man is not our enemy."
I love that moment. That moment is so good.
And then he
It's
just
earned.
says,
It's earned.
and then he says it, and then Clark says very respectfully, "Thank you, Colonel." And he just takes off. I'm like, God damn it, I love that.
And I even love, it's like, that was a $30 million satellite. I had to get your
was.
attention somehow. And at
No,
the end, it's like,
no,
I don't-
he goes, "It was."
and at the end, it's
Also,
like,
Nick,
I don't know, sir. He's kind of hot.
By Carol Ferris. By the way, so you know what's really funny about Man of Steel when you rewatch it? Knowing that that's Martian Manhunter, I'm like, and that gives new meaning to when Clark goes, "I guess I'll just have to trust you," because Clark knows he's Martian Manhunter.
See, what's funny is if you watch it knowing he's Martian Manhunter, you pick up on a lot of details. Like, there's some subtle details that kind of hint at it.
I love where I turned to my dad once when they're walking through the thing. I go, "You ever feel stupid? Remember they handcuffed Superman?"
Yeah, it's like, let's put our cars on the table.
He just tears it in half. He's like, "I could leave here anytime I want." That's the whole purpose. And you notice they don't call him Superman until like a long time in the movie, because the way that they kind of did it in Man of Steel, which I felt was cool, is that he essentially had to earn the title of Superman.
One scene that I thought was really corny, but actually, people thought was really corny, but I actually kind of dug, is when he went to the pastor to talk about it. And I love the moment where like he reveals that the pastor like does a visible gulp and he looks scared crapless, but still does his job.
Well, here's the interesting thing, particularly when you factor in Batman versus Superman. Whenever Clark is like having a crisis of like conscience, he goes to higher powers than himself, like God, through the priest. And then it's about the priest is an actual character from the comics created by Brian Azzarello. But anyway, and then his mother, Martha, in Batman versus Superman. So when you think about it, that's the ultimate admission of Superman saying, "I'm not perfect. I don't have all the power to solve the world's problems. So I'm going to go to other people for advice."
Yeah, I love like the phrase. It's like, I'm a boy from Kansas. It's about American as it gets.
I also love the priest's
Which, by the
advice.
way, that should literally be Kansas's phrase.
Yeah, exactly. I love the one of my favorite lines is like the priest goes, "What does your heart tell you?" And the Superman goes, "That Zod can't be trusted. The problem is, I don't know if the people of Earth can be trusted either." And then the priest goes, "Sometimes you have to take a leap of faith first. The trust part comes later."
And then he does literally take a leap of faith later on.
And I just love it. And then people were complaining about like the destruction in Metropolis after he fought Zod. If you're paying attention, even in the Smallville fight, he keeps trying to get the fight out of the urban areas, but Zod, Feora, and Non keep hitting him down on the ground.
Yeah, that's one criticism I do agree with you on. It's a bit overblown.
The other thing, I heard this on Nerdette's newsstand, and I love Triss, so there's no hate there. But when we were debating the whole neck snap, she says he could have put his hands in front of Zod's eyes. And I go, here's what Zach showed you that didn't work. Here's how I'm going to use this term, genius Zach is. So in the Smallville fight, when Feora and Non are fighting Superman, and Non is the larger Kryptonian, by the way. So Feora has him on the ground, and her hand is on his eye. And this is the first time the heat vision actually acts like a beam. The beam pushes her hand away because it's so intense. So I'm like, he's telling you that won't happen. That won't work.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, what do you guys do? Yeah, he kept escalating the fight.
Also, there's the other thing. It's like if he took one arm off, Zod would have broken free because it's like Superman was barely keeping him restrained with two arms.
Yeah, and Zod was still like able to like move his head, and it was like slowly with the time thing. It's like, and then remember, he said, "I'm not going to stop." And they act like Superman was not saying, "Don't make me do this." That's my problem. It's like he tried every little thing. He exhausted it, and then afterwards he screamed, and that was Henry Cavill's like improv, and I'm like, yeah, that's what he would do, because A, he killed, and 2, he killed the other last Kryptonian, as far as he knew.
As far as he knew.
Yeah, but and then you get into like Batman versus Superman and Justice League, and that's really where Batman versus Superman is where he kind of like adjusts to his like place in the world, kind of, or like you have the debate about should he intervene or should he not intervene, kind of like what James Gunn is doing with Superman. But I think even though he does it, here's the thing about one of the criticisms of the Snyder Cut is that Superman does not show up until 2 hours in the movie. Here's my response to that. He does show up. He's in the entire movie. His presence, his like influence, is felt throughout the entire movie.
Well, it's not like the previous movie. They literally killed him, and they have to devote a large amount of time to literally reviving him.
No, but even before that, it's like you keep hearing people say he was my hero, or like Batman saying, I made a promise on his grave to make this right. I'm gonna assemble this team no matter what it takes.
Even Suicide Squad dedicated a few moments to the death of Superman.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, of course, so it's like his presence was felt throughout the entire, he inspired the formation of the, yeah, exactly. So he inspired the formation of the Justice League. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, for the constraints that Zack was under, I think he told a pretty solid story. Now, there may have been some creative choices that Nick and I have our disagreements on, but the overall...
Save Martha!
But I told, by the way, so when Britt and I were talking about the Snyderverse, we got to that part. As soon as I explained it to her, she goes, "That's genius." I know, Nick, but my
I've been pretty consistent. The only two criticisms I have is the tornado scene and Martha. Those are like my two big ones.
Yeah, exactly. But my point is, those do not distract from the overall story he was trying to tell, because you know what he was going for. But it's like or it's like with the scene where like, what was it supposed to do? Just let them die? And Jonathan Kent saying maybe people were upset about that, but I'm like, wait a minute. He's saying, I don't have the answers, or this is out of my league. And then people ignore the part in the shed where he goes, can I just go back to pretending I'm your son? And he goes, you are my son. And you can hear like,
yeah, that's a pretty good moment.
And I'm like, you ignore all the good stuff just because you have issues with one point. Not you.
Just because the one thing I'll defend, is people like, he's like, oh, Pa Kent thought they should die. He says he doesn't know. Like he
said like, maybe. He said maybe.
He says maybe. I don't know.
Well, he says maybe, and then he basically is talking about how like the world's not ready, Clark. I know you look it up, but it's like, here's the thing, Nick. The rest of the part in the shed, he says you're gonna have to make a choice of what type of man you're gonna be. I can't make this choice for you. So that's kind of at least the way I interpreted it, and that's the good part. But here we go. You might want to go later. It's right there. I can't make the choice for you, but here's the thing: when you do this, there's no going back on this, and that's straight. First off, this conversation is straight a panel from Golden Age Superman, where John says, no, "Hide this from yourself; they will hunt you down."
Okay, in my defense, and I could totally be making excuses here or coping. Just the way that he said it, I feel like I kind of inferred like maybe I don't know.
And the pause, it's like the pause says I don't know. So it's like, come on, guys.
Yeah, like that's like the inference I got, like kind of the emotion. All right.
And if you go to the end with the ship, it's like that's the point of this conversation. You're supposed to say it's gonna be your choice, Clark. ZSJL, when he puts the suit on, he hears Jonathan Kent in his mind say, "Fly, son, it's time."
All right, I'm just gonna do this very quick exchange. Body language and the way he says it. Kevin Costner's such a good actor.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like people ignore that. But anyway, that's my thing. I think the Snyder Superman is the most overhated Superman.
I would agree.
Yeah. Now, granted,
Well, and what's
again,
funny? What's funny is, Snyder Superman is also like the most hated, but also the most loved, because you ask any normie, they love Henry Cavill as Superman. Like I remember, I was at a cookout with my family, and like, and she started talking about Henry Cavill as Superman, and my sister was about as normie as it gets.
the normies love the Snyder movie. Like, let me put it this way: my mom thought Superman was a joke. Again, this is anecdotal evidence. Until I showed her the Snyder, because what Snyder did, here's what he did really well, and it was his own, like, in his own words, here's what he was going for, and this is what differentiates Zack Snyder from like Tom King, besides actual talent. But Zack says that, yeah, I wanted to like break these characters down to their core so you can understand who these guys are at their core. So when I build them up to the comic book image of who they are, you then appreciate them more because because you've seen them at their lowest, and you know in their hearts who they are as people.
Yeah.
As opposed to Tom King, who just tears down characters. I'm sorry, I have to say
Hashtag King of Wonder Woman.
Thank you.
Aren't you running like a campaign or something to get him off the book?
Yeah. Actually, here's something I discovered. So you know how like there was talk that there was like a contract that DC has to publish Wonder Woman comics to maintain. Okay, so here's what I learned. According to Kurt Busiek, so this is someone that would know. That's not in effect anymore. And B, when it was, they were only required to publish like 4 comics a year of Wonder Woman, 4 issues. So if they wanted to, they could just kick King off the book and then just delay the series and like figure out a new writer. They could do that. Will they? Not necessarily. The book is still like failing in sales. I mean, the only reason why it rose a little bit is because Batman was like a co-star in 2 issues, which, by the way, Nick, it's the hilarious. He serves no role in the story. He's only there to improve sales because he gets struck by lightning and is off for like the rest of the book.
Oh God.
And I'm like, you literally have the premise of the story is Wonder Woman is trying to solve a murder on Olympus, so she calls Batman instead of the actual Wonder characters that are like detectives, like Cassie. But Zeus knows who Batman is, so Batman goes, "You know me?" And this is Tom King's cringe dialogue. You ready? So Zeus, the god, the king of the gods, says, "They're gods, there are men, but then there's Batman. The gods are afraid of Batman."
What the?
And then Wonder Woman is torturing the gods to get it, like stabbing gods and like stabbing them through the hands. She's legit says she doesn't care about committing blasphemy. She calls Zeus a pathetic little man. And then
this is gonna give fuel to the fire of the Bat God fan subset.
Yeah, I know. It's revealed, by the way, that the reason why Wonder Woman's so angry, she has an anger inside her because Steve died. So everything she did is motivated by Steve Trevor.
Oh.
And then King, as the unprincipled a-hole he is, Wonder Woman breaks down crying, and Batman comforts her by kissing her forehead and stuff. So I'm like,
I mean, that's cool.
No, he's trying to get the Wonder Bat fans to buy the book. That's the thing about King.
He's trying to get you. He's specifically seen your.
Oh, I dropped the book as soon as I dropped the book. So I'm like, yeah, I sailed the high seas for it because that's about the only value it has. Content.
Didn't Zeus say there's no?
Yep. There's gods, there's men, and then there's Batman.
If DC wants sales, then put Superman in Wonder. Oh!
Ironically, the highest selling issue of this entire series is the issue where Superman was the co-star. But it was just because they went to a space mall to buy a birthday present for Batman.
Oh, God. What is this Rorschach? Because Wonder Woman wouldn't do this stuff.
I know. It's ironic that Tevye said Rorschach because remember where Tom King sent a hate mob against Jay Lee because Jay Lee did a cover for Ethan Van Sciver?
Yeah,
and never apologized for it.
I love how it blew up in his face, and this is like during the height of like those cancel culture stuff. Like this is when it was at its most peak, and he still still blew up in his face, which is kind of hilarious.
And then he didn't apologize publicly. He said, "Hey, I talked to Jay. Everything's good. He's not a hateful group. Everything's good." We're like, "Hey, a-hole, you sent a hate mob after him after his dog also died."
Oh God.
That's why he wasn't responding on Twitter that entire time, because he was dealing with his dog dying.
I think him and his wife were like scattering the ashes somewhere or something.
King also took credit for the phrase "dark side is," and I go, "That's in Grant Morrison's Justice League of America. So unless you're Grant Morrison, you can't take credit."
He is not Grant Morrison.
He's definitely not. Well, here's the thing: King takes credit for other people's work. Like, he even took credit. So someone said, "Oh yeah, Kite Man is getting a HBO series. It must feel great to see a character you created to getting a show." And then he basically says, "Yeah, it is." He took credit for creating Kite Man.
Isn't Kite Man dating back to like the 80s?
Exactly. And when you call him out on his BS, he blames other people. That's the thing. So Detective Chimp shows up to fight the Sovereign. I think I ranted about this on an early stream. But the point is, so King had said that the reason why Detective Chimp is on the book is because it was his closet pitch for a Detective Chimp book that he wants to write.
God.
But then when he got backlash, he said, "Oh, that was the artist's idea to include Detective Chimp." The man is unprincipled, and by the way, you'll love this, Nick. He keeps coming on podcasts and saying, "I really know comics. I know comics." And I go, if you have to keep telling people you know comics, you don't. It's like walking into like an office building and saying, "I am in charge. I am in charge."
Do you really think you're in charge?
No. Be careful not to choke on your ambitions, Tom King.
All right. So, yes, the Phoenix Press endorses this hashtag.
Of the two hashtags I do, King of Wonder Woman is the priority.
Yes. So if you want to spread awareness, post this on Twitter. And Jared, next time you're doing a hash like a day, let me know. I'll be happy to supply some memes.
Yeah, we do it every single day the issue launches. You know, it's kind of funny. So when I started this, it blew up.
Oh, your audio got kind of weird.
Okay. So
okay, he's fixing it.
Here's the funny part. I see Twitter accounts that I've never interacted with that probably don't know who I am using the hashtag. And I go to the point where the Brazilian Wonder Woman fan account is using it or reported on it.
Rises.
They reported on it the day I launched it because it blew up. I'm watching this and then Britt is saying this to me and I'm go, because I thought I was just going to send it out and then it wouldn't gain traction because I'm a relatively small Twitter account.
And then
here's the advantage. It's a writer people genuinely hate.
And then you get an email and it's the official DC Comics email and you find out that both you and Britt have been invited to the DC offices to talk with the top brass themselves.
Oh, if we did that, we're like, okay, fire Tom King. But by the way, so this is how cringy Tom King is. Do you know what he did in the Batman book? Because he wanted to hype up Catwoman. So first Catwoman defeats Talia al Ghul in a sword fight. And then Catwoman defeats Barry Allen and Wally West.
Huh?
Just by punching them as they're running at her. They are running. They're not standing still. They are running.
There is no way that Catwoman defeats Talia in a sword fight. Martial arts, maybe, if Catwoman decides to get a little bit
tricky. Sword fight. It was a sword fight. And then she beats the Flashes. That's the problem with King. He overdoes she could be anything. Oh, even in the Wonder Woman thing, she can lie under the influence of the lasso of truth because she's that powerful.
That part I might be able to buy because this is Catwoman. She's a trained liar.
No, I'm saying Wonder Woman.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Catwoman lying is kind of one of her big things.
But so, Wonder Woman.
And Batman can beat the lasso of truth because he's Batman.
No, but here's the thing. Here's why. So the context is she's fighting Hephaestus. Hephaestus has the lasso wrapped around her neck. And she goes, Batman is right behind you. And then Hephaestus is like, Remember, Hephaestus is a god, so the gods are afraid. So she knew she was lying when she said that. So I'm like, and they didn't explain, because Batman even said, how are you able to like lie and stuff? I thought the lasso was like the most powerful force on Olympus, and she goes, it is, implying that she's the most powerful force on Olympus.
I mean, if I was writing that, it would have been very simple. She convinced herself it was the truth.
Or she could just say, yeah, your room was behind him.
Yeah, there's plenty of ways that
But
you
he
could
didn't.
do that.
He just left it.
Like, because like I could assume, like Selena could convince herself it's the truth. Because like, remember how Batman sometimes has like anti-mind reading techniques where it's like he has like layers of thoughts kind of thing.
Yeah, that's believable. All right, wait till you see this. So in his Trinity book, he's making an entire series about Trinity. It's called Trinity, the Daughter of Wonder Woman, but it's about fathers and daughters. It's not about Wonder Woman. And even though it's called Daughter of Wonder Woman. But so there's a statue that was made on Themyscira. The statue is on Themyscira. This will make Autumn. Remember when Tom King had Diana make Steve a statue? Well, guess what? He got another statue, this time on Themyscira. I'm going to show you this statue on Themyscira. I want you to tell me what's wrong with this, okay? All right, so let me find the picture of the statue. This prompted an entire... All right, so you want to see a meme I made? I think you'll be proud of this. Real quick, hang on.
Let it rip.
Hang on. Check it. I call this all the BS from Tom King's Wonder Woman run. That's the line. That's the line. There are gods, there are men, then there's Batman.
That is so stupid.
So, but anyway, speaking of stupid, here's the statue. I'm trying to find because I have the right image on here because I did a video about it. Actually,
like I just can't see a scenario where Themyscira would honor a man with a statue on their own island.
Oh, wait till you see the statue, Nick. This is gonna piss you off. Because it pissed Brit and I off. And here's the thing. You don't want to piss Brit off. Brit's like the Hulk in the best way. All right, you ready?
I fear her Google Foo.
Tell me why this is a statue that wouldn't be with the Amazons.
Yeah, that would never be on Paradise Island.
She's like a trophy on him.
Yeah, well, first off, you have the whole a man statue on Paradise Island. That alone would never fly. Yeah. But this statue would be so offensive to the Amazons.
Yeah. Oh, and notice that her daughter. Do you know why Trinity was created? Here's why. And King was very open about this. He said because you have John, you have you have John, you have Damian. They need a sister. So in other words, because Batman has a kid and Superman has a kid, not like, I think it's time for her character to have a daughter. I think it would really add to like her to like go through that experience. No. And you notice that like her daughter is dressed up like Robin and not like Wonder Woman when she's a kid. This whole thing exists to worship Batman. Like even when in the crib, she has a Batman toy instead of a Wonder Woman toy.
I mean, I'm not gonna knock the logic of like, if you want the whole like the kid trinity, like all the kids, like you have John, you have Damian, and you want like a Wonder Girl essentially. I'm not knocking that, but like,
I am, because that makes because the way King communicates it has nothing to do with what it adds to Diana as a character. It's all about, because Batman and Superman have a kid, Wonder Woman should have a kid. And I go, that is a crappy reason.
Hey, Luna Shelby, how you doing? Huh. Yeah, we don't really get many Twitch comments, so that's pretty cool.
I've started to get a little more.
All right, it's time to wake up. Says I'm late. Who is deemed to be the greatest Superman? Pence is the greatest Superman. At least that's what you're gonna say.
No,
Jared,
my greatest
Jared,
Superman is Henry Cavill.
Jared, so you got. I need you to realize something. It's time to wake up. Like, he likes my show, but he's a Pence fanboy. Like C.A. Pence, the co-host.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is a total Pence fanboy. So that's the lore of the channel I wanted to explain to you.
Mm-hmm.
I would normally say just shuffle Tom King, to a book he could excel at. But I don't think I'd even put him in a Black Hawk miniseries.
See, here's the thing. Realistically, he's not going to get fired. That's why the hashtag is King Off Wonder Woman. Just get him off that book, move him to a book he wants to write, and then you're good to go. That's it.
All right. All right. A man called Push says personal
That's a
opinion.
good one. That's a
Yeah, I
animated
really
series is
liked it.
great.
I like. Okay. This might be a hot take. I think Tim Daly is the Superman, but Kevin Conroy is to Batman.
Instead of George Newbern.
George Newbern is great. I like George Newbern,
World
but
of
Tim
Cardboard?
Daly just kind of he projects with his voice. He has like this kind of project like he booms with his voice.
Oh,
that I love Superman.
There's a scene. So when in the Superman the animated series, when they wanted to when they brought in Darkseid and stuff, they also wanted to raise the stakes. So they had a character named Dan Turpin, and he was in the comics. Beside, they modeled him after Jack Kirby.
Mm-hmm.
So when they killed him, because they legit Darkseid Omega beams him, Superman goes nuts and beats the crap out of an apocalyptic tank. And I kind of want you to hear this. So let me pull this up. Superman.
All right, while we're doing that, I'll answer some comments. Luna Shelby says, "How you doing today?" I'm doing pretty good. I'm hanging with my greatest foe here. It's an awesome time. I wouldn't have it any other way. Girl says, "I guess Tom King would be a great Batmite writer." Oh, no.
Don't give him any power.
Question: what about Nolan North Superman? When did he do Superman?
Suicide Squad and a bunch of other projects, but it's
I think Nolan would be a good Superman. I think I like him as a voice actor. I think he'd be fine. I haven't seen it, but just my opinion. Nolan North, I think he'd do a good job.
Yeah, he did. And I think we quit Suicide Squad before you actually heard Superman.
Okay.
I'm trying to find it. Okay, here we go. I think this is it. Let me see. Where is it?
One of these days, you're gonna force me to complete the game, and I'm not gonna like it.
Here we go. Oh yeah. I'm sure you will. Oh, wait, wrong button. All right, here we go. Let me know if you have sound here. Share window. Let me do this.
All right. And then a man called Puss says, "I need to travel to a dimension where Henry Cavill was given." Yeah. I do too. Honestly.
Right, here we go.
No sound.
No sound. Jeez. Okay, so what's going on here? Let me try copy and pasting and doing this through Google Chrome.
Yeah, usually you need to share a browser for audio, which is kind of weird.
Okay. Oh, wait, hang on. Let me try that. Actually, let me try this. Hang on. Screen share. Okay, so that's screen share.
Do you have a screen share button?
All right, so let me try sharing entire screen. Let me try that, and let me see if there's an audio button. If there
worth a
isn't,
try.
then yeah, it's worth a try. So let me try this. Hang on. Do you hear it?
There's faint something, maybe. I don't know.
All right, but hang on.
Yeah, it's not working. They killed Jack Kirby.
Yeah, but the point is when you hear the pain in Tim Daly's voice, it's he communicates it.
Yeah, World of Cardboard, which was Jordan Newbern, right?
That was Newbern because Tim Daly was Superman for the animated series, and then Newbern took over for Justice League.
Jared, I know if you ever met Henry Cavill,
I would make him do that. Yes, I would.
And the thing is, he would probably know exactly what you're asking to do, and he'd gladly do it.
Yeah, I'm sure he would. I'm sure.
Same here, and we'll take Anna with us. Oh God, I love that. Do you remember that time that Henry Cavill built a PC?
Yeah.
And Anna, that Star Wars girl, did the reaction.
She reacted to it, and she was like, "My uterus."
I'm like, Anna, do you need to pause the stream to maybe take care of some business before resuming? Because I don't blame you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's really adorable. Oh gosh, I hope you get to meet Henry someday. That'll
I'm sure
be the greatest. Yeah. Let's see here. But yeah, some other. I liked Tom Welling, but not as Superman. I think he was a good, early Clark Kent.
He wasn't Superman until the end of the movie.
I will say when he came back for Crisis on Infinite Earths, god dang, that guy could have played Superman still. Like the way he was built.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing. I'm still convinced that Smallville animated series will never happen because, again, Smallville had its time. You don't have that big of a demand for it. You just don't.
So the problem with the Smallville animated series is it's basically just a Superman show. Because it's like because he's Superman now, and you're just going off the
you
Smallville
would
stuff.
have brought in the other Justice Leaguers and stuff like they did in the comics, but still, it's like, yeah, we've seen that story then.
Yeah, like I'm glad it got the comic stuff. Like that's the one thing I love about comics is the stuff.
That's why I'm like, make Justice League more at all.
Yeah, like I need to read Batman '89. I need to do that. So Luna Shelby says, by the way, design custom artwork for gamers and streamers, including logos, banners. That's cool. Not really looking for that right now, but I appreciate you letting us know. Sound to Wake Up says, new Superman trailer appears to show Supes telling the U.S. government to F off. My favorite Superman story, by the way, preventing one of their democracy-spreading interventions. So maybe he'll rise. Like that seems possible.
We'll see what happens with that. It's like, I mean, it depends on the story and stuff. And Gunn is very classic feeling with his Superman, so I don't think Superman is going to ultimately tell the government to F off.
Well, maybe not in that language, but
Well, yeah, because the fact that that Superman media, they've been going back to true justice in the American way, which I always liked. But it's like very fact that they're because like even the Super Sons movie and all the media afterwards, it's been true justice American way to the point where I'm like, DC is quietly admitting that they screwed up, and they're like, let's not change that.
Yeah, like Truth, Justice, and a Better Tomorrow is not a terrible phrase in of itself, but when you have Truth, Justice, the American way, that phrase in of itself is so ingrained in Superman. That would be
all it means is all the good. It's all the values that you want to espouse. It's just shorthand.
That would be like trying to say, "Oh, we need to change. With great power comes great responsibility." It's on that level.
Yeah, exactly.
DC would be rolling in the bank if they animated their canceled projects.
I know. I've long said, well, take Justice League more. Take all these scripts. Like even for the Cage Superman movie, make it a comic.
See, like I saw that you recently reviewed Return of the Caped Crusader with Adam West. I really want a Batman sequel with Michael Keaton in it.
Yeah, they could do that.
Oh gosh, like what other types of Return of the Caped Crusader movies would you like to see?
Other types? I mean, by the way, it was kind of cool in Return of the Caped Crusader to hear Adam West give this is an operating table and I'm the surgeon line. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this, but this is cool.
See, the thing is, what I liked about that movie was Adam West and Burt Ward. They never looked like they never missed a day. The only problem is Julie Newmar. You could hear the age in her voice.
She sounds very old, and I'm like, it doesn't match the character. I get that she wanted to come back, but still, it's like...
And I'm happy she came back. Yeah. I'm actually glad. But, it sounded like an old lady. I'm sorry.
Plus, when she's like... I don't believe someone with that like, voice is jumping around like Catwoman is.
But Adam West and Burt Ward, they never missed a day. Like
I love the clone canon where Batman takes over the world.
Let's see. The Better Tomorrow should be John. The American Way should be Clark.
That's something. Again, make John's different.
The American Way just rolls the tongue better. Yes, it does. And he's a Kansas boy. I'm not Mr. Patriot or religious, but if Kent doesn't say it, it ain't Supes. Daredevil, no Catholic guilt, that ain't Matt. Yeah. All right. Speaking of cancel project, I know it's off the topic, but I'm just wondering, do you think Jurassic? No. I'm.
Jurassic is going to happen, even though no, absolutely not. It's not happening.
Luna Shelby, we appreciate you stopping by, but we're not really interested in anybody like self-advertising in the chat. So So yeah, if you want to hang out, that's cool. But we're not really interested in you kind of advertising your services. So we ask you to kind of please tone that down.
Yeah, not in the chat, please.
Yeah. Yeah. They tried to do that.
And remember where they chose that as an animated project over a Spider-Verse like style Batman Beyond movie, where they actually had concept art and everything.
Oh gosh. And those that concept
That would
videos
make
look so.
bank. Right, you know what? I watched like my first arc of Batman Beyond. I watched the arc of that introduces the Justice League. Actually, the first appearance of the Justice League in the DCAU, where Superman was like taken over by Starro for like years.
Yeah,
that was
a good one. They actually made a Justice League Beyond comic too.
See, here's the thing: those comics are not canon to the DCAU, and those are the comics where Wonder Woman goes to the Justice Lord's Earth to marry Lord Batman. Lord Batman's killed by Lord Superman. Wonder Woman kills Lord Wonder Woman, and then she's forced to marry Lord Superman and have his kid. Yeah.
What in the Tom King is this crap?
That's how bad those comics are. People think they're DCAU canon because they mirror some of the events, but they're not.
Yeah, this is a problem. Like, I love the DCAU. I love it very dearly. But the comics are very hit and miss. Mostly miss.
Well, remember, it's also in the comics where they put in that, like, Batman and Barbara. Oh, also, there's more evidence.
Remember I made you read it?
Yeah, there's more evidence concerning Wonder Woman being 18, because if you look at the timeline from when she's clearly born to when she arrives, it's 18 years. Watchtower Database did an entire video on this that I watched, and I was like, yeah, it makes it look really bad there.
Yeah, like Batman Beyond just does not get treated right. Didn't they like actually like kill Terry and have Tim be Beyond for a while?
52 to get people on board. They made him because he was the future Batman, but they made it where it's like a Terminator story. It sucked. Well, the overall story sounds cool, but they made it go on for way too long.
Didn't like the White Knight universe actually like touch on some Beyond stuff too?
Yes, it did. I didn't read anything of that, but that's also the one where Batman and Harley Quinn became a couple.
That one I've seen, I think, like Comic Historian or maybe whoever do like a read through of it, and it doesn't seem that bad. Like he initially married her to like protect her, but then they actually grew to like care about each other. So
it's still Batman and Harley Quinn, though. I get from the story it works, but still, it's like I don't like this.
I still like what they did with Harley in Return of the Joker, where like she actually settled down and like she had kids, and then they had kids, like Grandma Harley. So what do you thought that was nice. That was a nice send off to Harley.
Well, what do you think about Batman and Harley Quinn when she and Nightwing get together?
Oh,
that's canon, by the way.
Wait, you're not talking about Batman and Harley? Wait,
Batman and Harley Quinn is canon to the DCAU.
What?
Yeah, written and directed by Bruce Timm.
You're just pushing all my buttons tonight.
It's literally canon. And here's the thing. It's kind of weird that's canon because when you look at the girls at the little like restaurant, there's like Power Girl and Starfire like dressed girls. And I'm like, they don't exist in this universe as far as we know.
But they don't not exist. We know the Titans
exist. Here's the thing about Power Girl.
It's one line for Batman Static Shock that canonizes the Titans.
Here's the thing about Power Girl. That's what Galateo is supposed to be.
Also, like, funny thing about Tim being with the Titans is when this takes place, you have the 2000s run of Titans where Tim is a Robin on the Titans. So it's oddly kind of works.
That's the one. Okay. So Connor dies in Infinite Crisis against Superboy Prime. So Cassie and Tim. Yeah. And then when Connor comes back to life through time travel, it's like there. I'm like, what are you doing? It's really like it really gets pretty annoying. So I'm just like, that's the thing I recently came to a determination, because you know what I did, Nick? You know all the problems I have about DCAU Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah.
because of the travesty that is Tom King, I went back and I rewatched all the Wonder Woman episodes, and I go, why did I hate this? Because here's my determination with the DCAU. There's a lot of creative decisions that I'm like, why did you do that? However, it's overall pretty good. Pretty fun. I like it. It has a great Superman.
Sorry, I got to I got to do some.
But it's one of those things where I'm like, it's okay. But I did like New 52 Earth 2. What they did with the World's Finest books was Power Girl, in other words, Kara from that Earth, and Helena Wayne, Huntress, because they assume the roles of Power Girl and Huntress because they show up in the main DC universe, and it's like there's already a Robin and a Supergirl, so they're like, well, let's assume all these identities. That then they go back and like remain as like Power Girl and stuff. Actually, I think she becomes Superwoman in that Earth. But it was really cool. There's a lot of really cool stuff there.
All right. Sorry. Someone violated the rules. I had to kind of take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So which Power Girl is from Earth 2? Raises some questions, like did the Justice League meet the JSA in this universe?
Yeah, but here's the thing about that Earth thing. Because it's like the what's the word? Did you ever see that Crisis on Two Earths movie?
I don't think I did.
So that was originally conceived as the bridge movie between JL and JLU. It changed later on, but it's like a lot of the events kind of carry over. Like it's when the Justice League goes to Earth 3 to fight the crime syndicate. And what's cool about it, it explains like the invisible jet. And what's kind of cool is like Barry asks, why do you have an invisible jet? You can fly. And then Green Lantern goes, you drive a car. So I'm like, I do kind of like that. So it's kind of cool with that.
Yeah. But yeah, like the DC. Trying to think here. Okay, if we were to say who is the least best Superman actor,
least best,
I would say Superboy from the late '80s. Like I've only seen like a few clips. Not the best. I'm including live action. We're not doing voiceovers because voiceovers we can get really nitty gritty with that one. Like, who is your least favorite? Tom Welling also would probably be the next one on the list because he's really not even Superman, honestly.
I would say that because he's not Superman the entire movie, the entire show, and there are some times where like, see, my problem with that show is that they went too far in the sex angle, like when Lana gets powers and she and Clark bang and they cause like earthquakes and stuff, and I go, what the Frank Miller is this? And I go, it's just, I get that CW. But
I'm sorry, I have to
it.
do this. Talk about some earth-shattering sex.
Yeah, but I'm just like, I don't. That's the part where I really don't like about Smallville because it's distracting. I get that it's CW, but still, I'm like, no.
Personally, it doesn't really bother me, but I get what you're coming from.
But here's another reason why to love the DCAU Superman. He never gets with Lois. If you're tracking it, yes, they kiss at the very last episode of Superman, but nothing happens after that.
Yeah, even in Justice League, they're not together, which is really kind of weird.
Which I love. It's great for me.
Oh, she shows up, which also happens to probably be your least favorite episodes. Like, I think if there's a Lois that you hate with a fire passion, it is that version of Lois.
So you know how I have a Jennifer Hale boost? In other words, I add 5 points for every character that Jennifer Hale plays. Every episode that Lois is in automatically loses 5 points.
So for those who don't aware, me and Jared did a full rewatch of Justice League on his channel, and that actually happened.
She played like 3 characters. So Jennifer Hale played like 3 characters in the same show. So I was adding 15 points to my score. So I ended up giving it a 35 out of 10.
Yeah, wasn't there like episodes where like she was playing 2 characters at once?
Yeah, and I said, guess what? And, yeah, because she was Giganta and Killer Frost. So I was like, yep, all right. I am consistent, but be honest, Nick. If Laura Bailey played 3 characters, you would give her 5. You would do 3 5-point ads. Don't pretend
Yes.
you wouldn't.
See, so basically, Jared has his Hale boost. I have my Bailey boost. So like, Laura Bailey is to me what Jennifer Hale is to him.
Which they're both great actresses and they're awesome at what they do and stuff. Hancock.
Hey, I'm taking the lady over the bar.
Mhm.
Mountain top, mountain top, mountain top.
Right, did
Jared,
you
I think
see-
you'll agree for the tone of that film, that scene works.
No, that works because A, he's not Superman, and B, again, for the tone of that movie, that works. I'm like, okay, it's cool.
I think that's even a deleted scene. I don't think that's even in the movie.
Yeah, so, but I'm like, no, I really like that, and the way that like it works for that type of movie. It's like the same way it's like what Homelander does works, but for Homelander.
Also, that scene was directly inspired by the 60s essay Superman, Woman of Kleenex.
Mm-hmm.
That haunts you. That
Yeah.
essay haunts you.
Did you hear that Axel Braun commented on the Superman trailer?
Oh God, I
Do
think
you want
I
to hear what
saw
he
that.
said?
Yeah.
This is
For
so
those-
good.
For those who don't know, Axel Braun is a costume designer. He designs superhero costumes for adult film entertainment, and he's known for making superhero costumes that arguably are better than what you get in the actual movies.
So his first comment, which was when the suit was first revealed, he had said he spent he recounted his career. He said, I should have stayed in longer to show them how it's done instead of this floppy mess. So this is what he said.
What he knows?
So this is
He
what
knew
he said.
exactly what he was doing.
So in response to the trailer, someone said that like there were shots of the trailer that looked like a porn parody. So you know what he said? Sadly, it does look like a porn parody, just not one of mine. My movies were never this goofy. I had way better costumes, and more importantly, I always respected the source material because
right.
I care.
All right, okay. Wait,
Be careful about what you show, Nick.
Yeah, I need to turn Safe Search on.
No, but isn't that it's bad when the porn people are saying they respect the source material.
Right,
That is like the biggest FU to James Gunn.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god. Hey, that's a question. Which Superman do you think had the best suit?
All right, I'm just gonna say it, Henry Cavill.
Yep. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Reeve had a good suit.
Safe
as well.
Search is on, my friend. Safe
Okay,
Search
good.
is on.
Okay, good.
All right, so here are some of Axel Braun's costumes, and
Well, yeah, there's the tweet. Yeah, that looks pretty spot on according to comics.
oh god, his Taskmaster is pretty good. Phoenix is pretty good.
No, but
I'd
again,
say.
according to what he said, he respects the source material. So,
I mean,
know
if you
it's
see these
bad.
costumes, I
Again-
gotta say they're actually kind of good.
You know it's bad when the porn people are telling you they respect the source material more than you do.
Oh, I guess he did Star Wars costumes too.
Yeah.
Which, okay.
Yep, he did.
Ugh,
Look at
there's
his
this
Wonder Woman. He does a good new 52 Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, remember that the failed pilot with the.
Yeah, we reviewed that. That sucked.
I watch Axel Braun movies for the costumes.
You may not be like that off for a lot of people, but
Reeve and Ralph. Yeah, I'd say yeah.
the Ralph Kingdom Come suit was good. It's just so the cool part about the Cavill suit is that yeah, it's textured, but it's not overly textured, which I think is the problem with the Corn Sweat suit. With the Cavill suit, they wanted it to be like subtle, but they wanted it to look like chainmail, like he's a knight. So I'm like, that's a way to do it. The problem with the Corn Sweat Superman suit, with all those padding, it bunches up in certain areas. And this was a problem that early like Superman and Lois had, because whenever Superman would be like holding up a ship, his shoulders would do this.
Yeah, like it's one thing. If you're in like the Tyler Hoechlin, it's like you understand. Okay, this is a TV budget. The suit looks great. Yes, it bunches up. It's obvious padding, but it's a TV budget, so you can kind of like give it a bit of a pass. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Tyler Hoechlin Superman suit, which, let's be honest, it was very much inspired by Man of Steel.
Yeah, of course.
I even really liked the original Supergirl suit. Like that was like a really nice classic melding of old and new, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would say so. It's like the only suit that I say was necessarily bad was the return suit. The S is too small. There's S's everywhere, like tiny S's. There's S's on his boots, on his belt. It's the cape is like a red leathery look, and I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah. You talking about Brendan Routh's suit?
Yeah, in Returns.
Superman Returns, so like the movie.
The
basically.
movie, yeah. But because his Kingdom Come suit was awesome.
Yeah, I did like the Superman logo that Brendan Routh had in Returns. But yeah.
I just wish it were larger.
Agreed. Yeah, and then Tom Welling was basically wearing the Ralph suit for that. It was like what 15, like 10 seconds, like 5 seconds of really
it's enough to there is a shot of it when like it's revealed, and I'm like, there's the tiny ass.
Yeah, Cavill's ones looks really good, like especially as an adaptation of the New 52 era suit. I think it does a really good job.
Kind of, and it's like he doesn't need the underwear, and plus, even with this, with the way that he did the black suit, I know some people would have preferred him not to have the cape, but I do like the way it does all the silver lines, like the Silver S and stuff.
Actually, one of my favorite Superman suits is actually the Return of Superman suit from that series, where it's got like the mullet, the silver S, he's got the silver boots and like the silver like bracers,
and he's strapped with guns. And he's strapped with guns. I'm like, that's one thing I learned from the Boy Scouts: always be prepared.
Which I'm sure I've told you this before. That is one of my favorite frames, like one of my favorite panels in comics ever. Just like a Ghost Scout, I'm always prepared.
And then Connor's like slamming, and I go, oh god.
Like that is literally one of my favorite panels in comics. I'm actually looking it up.
I'm sure you are. But it's like the thing. I think that if Zach had his way, he would have not had the cape on the suits. It's just remember he had to like key it because they only let him. Yeah, you know, because remember, he had to have the cape on there because that's just the Justice League suit with the colors inverted because Warner Brothers wouldn't allow him to have the black suit. Even though he's doing the Return of Superman, you kind of have that. Because otherwise, yeah, I get the feeling it would. Because if you look at the Zod suit from like the actual Metropolis fight, he doesn't have the cape.
All right. So Jared, this is literally this is perfection,
man. Can you imagine if Henry Cavill also had the long hair?
And you imagine if you gave Superman guns. Imagine the articles.
Oh my god, he's with Batman. And he goes, it turns into the Han Solo meme from The Force Awakens. I like these.
No, and Batman looks like, I gotta get some of those. Can you imagine how people be freaking out? Like, I love this suit so much.
If it were me, I would double down and have Superman shoot someone and go, I like killing.
Oh my god!
This is fun. I should snap everyone's neck.
Like, I wanted Henry Cavill with long hair so bad.
He wanted to do it, but WB was being a-holes as usual.
Perfect excuse for the trunks. You get all that color popping on the suit. People won't focus on the face similarity to Clark.
Yeah, but
I mean, women are...
If they're focusing on his crotch, that's not a good thing.
I mean, every Superman suit conversation is like, okay, how much crotch bulge do we want to have?
But the problem with the trunks and the way that these trunks look is that it's clearly a separate piece. That's when I have the issue. Because if it's just a coloration in there, I can live with it. But if it's like literal trunks, like a diaper, as my mom calls it, I'm like, no, I hate that.
See, and it's... I'm with you on the trunks, okay? Because, like, one second. The trunks are literally a holdover from the 30s, like 30 strongmen. Like Batman had trunks, even like it suits even up until like the 90s had the trunks in them, because they were an homage to like the fair strongmen kind of thing, where they're wearing the trunks, and like that concept is almost 100 years out of date. It's really only been pulled forward because of tradition and nostalgia.
Yeah, that's why.
So like we really do need to move on from the trunks. I like it on the old stuff. I like it on the old stuff. But for new, like that's why I actually really liked the Man of Steel suit, because they're moving forward with the Superman design.
Zach tried to make the trunks work. I just said I couldn't figure out a way to make it work. But here's the problem with that, and what I noticed, Nick. And stop me if you notice this too. Now, what I'm about to say does not apply to you. There are a bunch of people that I think have an unhealthy obsession with the Christopher Reeve Superman. What I mean by that is that to the point where they wanted Zach to deep fake Christopher Reeve's face onto Henry Cavill when he first cast him as Superman. And then it's like, it's because my theory is, again, this doesn't apply to you. This will make sense in a second. You have a lot of old people. Again, see what I said there? You have a lot of old people that, like, that's the way Superman was back then. And they're trying to, and maybe, like, psychologically, they're trying to remain young. And that's, like, what they associate with, like, their youth. So they don't want to admit that they've grown old. And, like, maybe some of their stuff is old-fashioned.
Maybe what we need is a little old-fashioned.
Well, yeah, but still, it's like the trunks is the part, because that's a joke in so many different movies. Like Captain Underpants is specifically a joke on that.
Yeah, like there's way to do old-fashioned stuff and update it. Like I think Captain America is in the MCU is a perfect example of that. I think they threaded that line brilliantly. Say what you will about Joss Whedon. I think he did a really good job with Avengers. The first one.
It's like with this. Okay, so here's the Batman versus Superman suit.
That is a good suit. That is a really good suit.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, see, if they had like painted this area, just had this area colored red, not a separate piece, but just a coloration, that's one thing. And that's honestly a good compromise for that. But the fact that they always make it a separate piece, that's where I have the issue.
Yeah, that's why I feel like the belt kind of does it does what the trunks do, which is break up the colors. Because if you look at that Superman suit, you have like the silver, like yeah, I love it.
The only one where I felt did it wrongly because the belt is too thin is the Rebirth suit.
I mean, that's not terrible, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's barely there, so I'm like, it's not. But they had a better belt in his second Rebirth suit, but this one plus there's not enough red here. It just looks like he's wearing a blue jumpsuit. Yeah,
that's the problem. Is you need something in that area to break up the colors, because, like you said, if it becomes like a jumpsuit, it looks kind of ridiculous. Like, have it be a belt. That's fine. And then Tevia says, question: did Wonder Woman have trunks? She did in a lot of her original stuff, but her more modern reinterpretation, they give her more of like a battle skirt, which is a great way to update it.
Well, and that it wasn't trunks. It was just like, you know how like it was a one-piece swimsuit essentially, and that's kind of what they went for. Then they gave her like a really long skirt, like in the Golden Age, which that worked as well. Then they went with more of the battle skirt. Then they went back.
It's kind of like a Roman battle skirt kind of thing.
Essentially, that because the influence that particularly Zach took for that was like gladiators.
Like, I actually think giving her a battle skirt is like the perfect like happy medium of like, okay, she's got a skirt on. It's like a Roman battle skirt, so you're not doing the trunks, you know, because Wonder Woman is a character that would value movement over armor, because like she's pretty impervious. So like armor is not really a concern for her, in my opinion. So movement would be more of a priority with her suit. Would you agree, Jared?
Yeah. So I updated my computer backgrounds, and I think that this has the perfect way to like illustrate this. So here's my background here. all Jim Lee, by the way. So here's her golden age like look with more of like the sort of dress skirt like idea. I really like this design. I think she has like one of the best golden age designs. Then you jump to the post-crisis Wonder Woman. See, it's not necessarily it would be trunks in this sense if she also wore pants, which she doesn't. So it's like you kind of avoid that. Then
They're missing the classic 70s bell-bottom look.
Mm-hmm. Then you get to the more armored look, which was inspired by Zack Snyder. So Zack Snyder was the blueprint. But
Always.
See, that's kind of how that the three different looks went. So she never. The reason why the trunks were fine with her, because here's the thing. Here's what I noticed. People always bring up, oh, it's also homaging modern day wrestlers, and I go, wrestlers don't wear pants in the middle of a match with their underwear on the outside.
Yeah, like they either wear the briefs, trunks, or they wear like some type of pants.
Yeah, they don't wear underwear on the outside. That's my problem. It's the outside the pants. Because even when you look at the old images of like strongmen, they also were just in the trunks.
Or they're in like a bikini brief kind of thing.
Yeah, no one wore their underwear outside their pants.
And like, yeah, guys, wrestlers even to this day do wear a kind of bikini brief kind of thing, like the classic Stone Cold Steve. Yeah, like the classic Stone Cold Steve Austin, where he's like got the trunks, a t-shirt, and like a leather cut kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. But that's my point. It's like let me put it this way. It's like I acknowledge the history of the trunks, but ultimately so far it doesn't translate well to movies, and it contributes to Superman being shown as a dweeb. Do you notice why they've never done it in any of the Batman movies? Like, they have never had him wear trunks.
Yeah. I'm looking up pictures of Stone Cold Steve Austin to kind of show.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that'll do. All right, so this is kind of like 90, like this is more like 90s, but it's still modern enough. You know what I'm saying? So here's a picture of Stone Cold Steve Austin. All right, a wrestler. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's wearing the trunks. He's wearing like a Superman's kind of throw. But you notice how he's not wearing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's not wearing pants. In other words, he's approaching this like Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman doesn't wear pants. So that helps. It doesn't look like trunks. It just looks like the end of her costume.
Yeah, and this is a more modern depiction. You know what I'm saying? So like, if Superman wanted to wear the trunks, he would have to like have bare legs or something or whatever. I don't know, but like you get my point.
But here's the thing: even the strong men, when you look at them, and I have some pictures. Hang on, let me go to this share window. Here you go. If you look at the pictures of strongmen, they also are not wearing pants.
Yeah. Like actually the depiction is actually pretty close to the Stone Cold Steve Austin picture I just showed you. Like not much has changed.
Yeah, they don't wear pants because they don't wear the underwear on the outside of their pants because that just looks stupid.
That's because Stone Cold Steve Austin is a badass.
Well, yeah. Have you seen the guy? Yeah, exactly. But it's like on that point, it's like that. There's this myth that people try and Mandela effect. They like, oh yeah, they wore underwear on the outside of their pants. And I go, no, they don't.
I mean, like the whole underwear on the side of the pants has been such a running joke for so long. Like, do you remember the show Doug?
Mm-mm. I do remember though. So you know who Robert Rodriguez is, right? He did Spy Kids and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So he did a superhero movie called We Can Be Heroes. It's a more kid oriented. Yeah, there you go. It's a more kid. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. So it's a more.
Yeah, this is Quailman, his superhero persona, and they're literally parroting the whole underwear on the outside thing.
In We Can Be Heroes, it's about like superheroes are like abducted and like their kids have to save the world and stuff. But they said we can't be superheroes. They have to wear their underwear on the outside of their pants. So I'm like, yeah, it's a joke. It makes these guys look like a joke. And I get, and see, if you want to have them with the trunks on, then don't have them wear pants or a shirt. That's it. Just have them go like a strong man. That's what you should do.
Yeah, I do want to highlight, like, they even did like a Batman parody cover. That's actually kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go.
Sure.
It might have been Shark Boy and Lava Girl, but I know I heard the line from the movie We Can Be Heroes.
Well, the point is, the point that both of us are trying to make is the whole underwear on the outside is a joke that's been going on literally for decades.
Yeah, it's a general joke about this character. And it's like the Cavill suit proves you can make the Superman suit look good without the trunks. It's like that clip I sent you basically implied that like real Supermen wear their underwear the right way, which is outside. And I go, that's not the right way to wear underwear.
I remember, I think it was like Kids' Choice Awards or something, and it was Terry Hatcher and Marlon Wayans, and they're talking about No, just let me cook. So they're talking about like they're comparing Superman as like he's talking about his time as Blank Man, and then Terry Hatcher says, "Well, at least Superman is not afraid to wear his underwear on the outside." So Marlon Wayans literally just takes off his pants on the stage and is wearing like these shiny red underwear like trunks thing. It's like, okay, fine, you are brave enough. Like the joke's been going on forever.
Yeah, it's a joke, and it's a joke that they need to move on if they want these characters to be taken seriously by the general audience and not be seen as lame. That's the way it's gonna work. It's like there's a reason why when they brought in Captain America, to that point, Nick, I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, they homaged his old costume in like the stage scenes, but when he became Captain America, he had a more modern, like military
modern
suit.
For the 40s. Like I actually really like that.
Even when he arrived in the present day, they gave him like at first the Avengers suit, which sucked, was an attempt at that.
He
but
was
then
Captain Puerto Rico.
Yeah, from the Winter Soldier and on, they gave him like a more. Actually, you know what? I have it. Hang on. What am I doing here? I'm glad I have a Hot Toy collection. Like, see?
Yeah, I think that's his Age of Ultron suit.
No, it's the Endgame suit. Age of Ultron had a little more red in there. But you see, they did the Captain America costume, but did it in a more modern way that makes sense for him because he's like a military guy. It makes sense he would have more tactical like suit.
Yeah, and even in his World War II costume, which Rob Liefeld designed that suit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
All the pouches.
Yeah. Exactly.
Also, Cap uses a gun.
Oh yeah. Oh, Cap murders people in the MCU.
Yeah, like straight out, like yeah.
Or it's like with Aquaman. Take Aquaman because before he was just a guy that wore a yellow shirt and green, an orange shirt and green pants. Zack Snyder was like, even Smallville they did that, but Zack Snyder's like he would wear armor. Yeah.
Yeah, even like the James Wan film. I think the James Wan film perfectly translated the classic Aquaman suit.
Oh,
perfect.
God tier.
Perfect.
That is the way to modernize because they still kept the armor, but it was colored in a way that it still looked like his. They even gave him the gloves and everything. I'm like, yeah, I have
like
no complaint.
Even like because like the classic suit often had like some scales on it. Like the way they textured it, it looked perfect.
It literally was page to screen. Even the Black Adam suit looked good. So
yeah, Shazam was good too. Like
Shazam was pretty good in terms of suits, in terms of plot, man. But still, no. But it's like that's the thing. They're having good superhero suits, not including the trunks. Just want to bring that up. But still, it's like it works if you're trying to like if you're doing an animated movie like in the Reeves verse, or if you're doing like the Adam West animated movies like Return of the Cape Crusader. Yes, use the trunks because it's directly from that area, but don't expect every superhero movie to have that. Like, it just won't.
All right, so since we're talking about superhero suits,
That needs to be a
Honey! What? Where's my super suit? What?
okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Disney's more relentless than Warner Brothers. That's about as much as I can play. Where's my super suit? God, I love that movie. I love that movie so much. The fact that Sam Jackson is playing him just makes it so much better.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, but it's like there's some suits that I even think the Wonder Woman suit they nailed. There are some people that I complain with, like, a lot of Snyder's suits are like a little bit desaturated, but I'm like, well, it's because it's like no one's gonna go into battle like bright like costumes, like neon colors.
The only problem I have, and I'm thinking 84 here. The 84 suit looks good, but they put her in wedges, which, I'm sorry, having your foot at that kind of angle and doing those kind of actions is a very bad idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the other one, the other suit I think they did a great job with, speaking of 84, is the golden armor. I'm like, that's pretty much the Kingdom Come suit. And I'm like, okay, that kind of works.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. I am glad we're starting to get some costumes, but I will say I actually do like the original X-Men leather suits. I know the modern's like, oh, they're afraid of the costumes. Like, oh, you know.
Well, what did you expect, Nick? Yellow spandex?
What did you expect? Black leather?
I love when they did that in 97.
I was so happy. I was so happy when they did that.
And how do you feel knowing they're going back to the Grant Morrison leather suits for the season 2?
They did it in First Class. I think they did it like it was paid to screen with in First Class.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And okay, here's my biggest issue is so you've seen X-Men Apocalypse, right?
Many times, yes, sir.
You know the ending, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like they put them in. All right,
they put them literally in the suits, and they never use them again.
All right. I'm gonna turn off the audio. This will probably help. Like Professor X looks amazing, but it's just a suit. It's hard to.
Mystique suit that is straight up the comic suit.
To a degree, but like they put some white in there, which I appreciate. Like I think Beast in X-Men 3 looked the best. Like
there's Quicksilver.
Like Storm looks amazing.
Storm looks great. Yeah,
the Cyclops suit. Like, why didn't they use this suit? This suit looks amazing. It's
literally the '90s suit. He even has the X. The Jean Grey suit also looks pretty decent.
Yeah,
but the Cyclops suit is the one that looks the best, I think.
Storm looks fine.
And Storm.
And Nightcrawler looks okay. But
Cyclops
looks amazing.
And you don't use it.
Cyclops looks amazing, and like the way his visor lit up.
Because they didn't expect to get Dark Phoenix. So it was like they were saying, if we have to end it, here's the team being the X-Men.
Oh gosh. And it's. Did you see that that suit leak from Doomsday?
What do you mean? Well, you know that like, remember when Deadpool and Wolverine was coming out and we were seeing like Cyclops and all that stuff? You know why that was? Ryan Reynolds literally had people show up in costume to ward off like spoilers. So it was like, they'll say this coming out. No, it's not.
So there's been a rumored leak of the Cyclops suit from Doomsday. Now this is a rumor. This could be fake. Okay. Just wanted to preface this. Supposedly, this is the suit that Cyclops is going to wear in Doomsday.
Oh, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, this looks. It does have the unnecessary lines, but it looks pretty spot on, I'd say.
Why do you think Hollywood puts lines on costumes so much?
I don't know. Yeah, like honestly, the Dark Phoenix costumes were such a step back. Even Cyclops.
Yeah, because it's because here's the thing: we're beyond the era where they should have like one costume. Let them be unique.
Like, if this is rumored to be the Doomsday suit, by the way,
It looks pretty good.
It could be fake. I'm just trying to preface this. This could be fake.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if that's a suit, I can live with it.
Mm-hmm.
I just really hope James Jason Marsden, or however you say his name. I keep confusing him with the voice actor. They got very similar names.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope he gets to wear, like, I want remember when X-Men 97 came out and be like, holy crap, Cyclops is awesome.
It was like he was always awesome. That's the thing.
He
It
always was.
doesn't hurt when he's like falling. He goes, "I'll see you guys on the ground." He's just like anime, like blasting. He goes, "To me, my X-Men,"
and they all land. Oh,
or like
God.
where he's using his beams as like traversal in the middle of a battle. He goes, "Good guy," or like where he goes, "Wait, I surrender." Not. And I'm like, "Oh yes."
Okay.
Yeah.
This is another. We're gonna jump around with this one, but
Solid work, team. See you on the ground.
all right.
I just love that he lands.
Right.
And it's like that is a comic book right there. That should be a panel.
To me, my X-Men.
Yes.
I love it.
Rogue and then Rogue is laughing as she brushes dust out of her hair.
All right, so I think Hollywood puts lines because it's low key makes it. I can maybe see that. So let's kind of wrap up here. Jared, what are your final thoughts on the Superman debate?
I think again, every Superman has their value in terms of the story that they want to tell. You don't have to like them, but enough with that's not Superman. Because who are you to say what Superman is when the character has existed for 70 years and had various interpretations?
All right, so how about you tell people what you got going on? Where can people find you?
Cool. You can find me at Comics League, and Comics League Dark starts in about an hour, where we're going to be talking about the return of Frank Castle, the Punisher, Tom King's travesty of a Wonder Woman run. And then for movie night, we're going to be talking about the Assassin's Creed movie. And then
that movie's so terrible.
For Super Wonder Legacy, Britt and I are going to be comparing Superman and Wonder Woman to Black Canary and Green Arrow, also talking about a character that Tom King has butchered. So it's a very Tom King heavy thing. On Sunday, I have Amazon Answers, my Wonder Woman Q&A. And then Wonder Woman Wednesday, I'll see what comes up. But that's about all I got.
All right, thank you. And I didn't realize you were starting that earlier. Awesome. So, as for myself, tomorrow we're doing the finale of Cyberpunk 2077. We're going to kick that off in style. Then on Sunday, we were doing our extra credits theme show. It's going to be pretty freaking awesome. Tuesday, we're going to play Golden Sun. So, thank you, everyone, for joining us. This was a really great time. Thank you, Jared. You're an amazing sub. Always funny to have you make fun of me and whatnot.
It's my civic duty to make fun of you, you old man.
Long live the Punisher shirt, by the way. Long live Frank Castle.
Hell yeah. By the way, the best part of Daredevil Born Again.
So if you enjoyed your time here, please like the stream and maybe consider giving us a sub. We got a lot of cool stuff. It's been Nick from the Phoenix Press. Remember, I can only show you the door. You can also walk through it.